You may be seated. At this time, we're going to invite our children to come forward to this right-hand side, and while they're coming forward, they do collect an offering that goes towards our Worthy Student Fund. So they're going to be collecting an offering, and we're going to invite them to come to this right side.
Now, in my bag, I have something special. Wait a minute. Courtney, did you put this in my bag? This isn't part of my story. Courtney says she didn't do anything. Courtney, here, take this. Okay. Oh, my apron's in there. Courtney, did you put my apron in there? Oh, Abby's the dog. Abby couldn't put my apron in there. Okay, here I am. I just got a prize. I have, what have I got in there? It's not a shirt. What do you think that is? A puppy? No. Let's unwrap it and see. This is part of our children's story today. Oh, cookies. You know what I've got? I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 loaves. And guess what else? I've got 2 fish. I've got 2 kissy fish. Can you imagine that? Does anybody know the story? You don't, Charlie? Well, I'm ready to tell you a story. Here, Courtney. There was a little boy in Jesus' time, and his mama loved to bake loaves of bread, and he heard about Jesus. Wouldn't it be nice if Jesus would come and meet with us in person in our church? But he does come and meet with us. But this was in a long time ago in Bible times. And the little boy heard that Jesus was going to be near his town. And you know what? He said, Mama, I want to go hear Jesus so bad. And so he had to walk a ways to go and meet with Jesus. And there were a lot of people going. So his mom said, let me fix you a lunch. Okay, Mom, that'd be great. That way I won't get hungry. So the little boy joined the group that were walking to see Jesus. And they ended up on a mountainside, and they walked and they climbed the mountain, and everybody kind of sat down and they listened. And they listened to Jesus all day. And the little boy's stomach started to rumble, and oh man, he was getting hungry. And he sat up close as he could get. You guys like to sit close as something exciting's happening, don't you? Yeah. So he got as close as he could get, and he heard one of the disciples talking to Jesus, and he said, Jesus, these people are hungry. And he said, get them something to eat. And the disciple looked around, and there was about 5,000 people out there in that crowd. Is that a lot of people? Yeah, that's a bunch of people. That's more than that's here today. And the little boy thought, maybe I could help. I've only got 5 loaves and 2 fish. It won't go very far, but maybe Jesus would like to eat it. And so he and one of the disciples got together, and the disciple said, all we have, Jesus, is this, 5 loaves and 2 fish. What happened that day, boys and girls? What happened? He broke it up and there was more. Jesus blessed that food and broke it up. And you know what? Everybody got to eat that day. There was so much left over, they had to fill 12 baskets. Was that little boy a missionary? Yes, he was. And that's what our stories are about today. Now, that brings me now to a story about a little girl who was 5 years old. She's too old. Her mom and dad were going on a mission trip down to Mexico, and her folks were going to help with the evangelistic series, and so they were talking with the people there, and their little girl was standing right beside them because she didn't want to get separated because she didn't know the country very well. And so Daddy was talking to the other people, and they were getting ready for the evangelistic series and getting excited, and the little girl looked across the street, and there was another little girl about her age, about 5 or 6, and she thought, Mommy and Daddy are going to tell others about Jesus. I'd like to tell that little girl about Jesus. And so she pulled on her daddy's pant leg and she said, Daddy, can I go over there? Daddy didn't pay any attention, and she said, Daddy, can I go over there? And he looked around and he said, what? She said, can I go over there? And he said, how far over? She says, just across the street. He said, stay in my sight. She said, okay. She walked across the street to the little girl across the street with big brown eyes and long dark hair. And she started talking to the little girl, and the little girl started talking back. And she said, do you know about Jesus? And the little girl didn't know. And so this little missionary girl told that little girl about Jesus. Would you be brave enough to do that? You think so? I'm going to tell you the secret about the story. The little girl went over to talk to that little girl, and that little girl could only speak Spanish and understand Spanish. And the little girl that went over to meet her could only talk English and understand English. Do you know what God did? He helped them understand each other so she could tell that little girl about Jesus. So whenever you are missionaries, boys and girls, don't ever forget that Jesus is going to help you. Now, I have a surprise in my bag, and it's not an apron. Where'd it go? Okay, I need the poster first. This says Sea of Miracles PlayStation. Do you know what that's for? Do you know what that's for? Boys and girls, guess what? You have a chance to be missionaries this summer. We are going to have Vacation Bible School right here at South Point in June. And you know what? This is one of our stations. This is the prayer station. You'll see it when you come to VBS. How many are going to be missionaries for me? Come on, I need all of your help. What about the adults? How many are going to be missionaries with me? I see some hands going up there. All right, that's wonderful. Well, boys and girls, I've told you about a little boy that was a missionary. I've told you about a little girl that was a missionary, and now you're going to be missionaries. And before we leave, I've got something for you to take home and to share, but I need 1, 2, 3 boys and girls to pray. You, and you. All right, come up here. Okay. Let's all bow our heads. Now, you're going to share my microphone, okay? Talk right here.
Thank you, Lord, first. I thank you for everything. Please bless everybody can have a good day and nice time. I thank you for my grandma to get out of the hospital.
Yeah.
I thank you for healing her. And please bless my grandma my auntie that's still in the hospital. Please help her to feel better. And thank you for all you done. In Jesus' name, pray. Amen.
Amen. Can you talk right here?
Thank you, Jesus, for this day and for everything that you've done to our lives, and for everything that you created through our lives, and for everything that you made, and for the two stories that the woman told us, and for everything that you've done. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Okay. Okay. Amen. All right, boys and girls, before you go, hand me a handful. I made something for you to take home and put on your refrigerator. And it says VBS, June 24 through 29. All right? Amen. All right. You go. You want one to take home? All right. Anybody else? I'll offer them to anybody who likes one. All right, you can go back to your seats, boys and girls. Thank you.